Welcome back, y'all, and happy Saturday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we're your hosts, Bull and P. We're going to talk about a couple things today. We talked some last night about that house settlement. So we got some updates on that. Got to talk to a couple of prospects, got their thoughts on it. Of course, we're going to be sharing ours with you. We want to hear yours as well. But we're really going to be talking about Tennessee's safety room. I think that there are some issues with it. We talked about that several times, and we're just going to kind of go through and talk about what Tennessee's done, what Coach Banks has done with his safeties, and maybe what we need to do differently moving forward and how their room's going to look in 2025. But as always, y'all, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out in a very, very major way. All right, P, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. And the first place that I want to go to, P, is with this house settlement. So this is just a list of a couple of things. This is looking at Tennessee's football team. But this is just showing you some of the key takeaways from the house settlement. So number one, the roster limit is going to go to 105, but we get more scholarships. So football had 85 scholarships. We get 20 more. I'll actually also show y'all a list that will break down all the other sports too. I think maybe all of them end up gaining some scholarships, P, which is great. But at least for this first year, the walk-ons will still be part of the team. So football teams, even only with 85 scholarships, we're holding 120, 130 players. Most of those got, well, not most of them, but all the ones that weren't on scholarship, obviously, were walk-ons. So that's what held things up, is that the walk-on players had to get grandfathered in. I don't know if it's just going to be for next year or if it's going to be for all the walk-ons that are freshmen all the way until they graduate. It's something like that. Either way, that's not a. I mean, it's a great thing, but I don't think it's a huge deal necessarily for our team. But whenever you come down here, you're looking at, for me, I think the NIL for our football team is going to go down to about 2.9 million. I don't know exactly what it was before, but we all know that it was way more than that because Nico was getting 2 million. I mean, shoot, David Sanders is over 1 million. So that's 3 million right there just on two players. And every payment that's made to the players, every new deal after the first, it's going to be scrutinized, right? With this new NIL cap thing that they're trying to do. And actually, what I'm going to do is pull this up for y'all and show you kind of like how I broke down this whole deal of how much money I think Tennessee's football team will get. This is from a Yahoo article. I think it's Ross Dellinger. But the part that we have highlighted there, what they said is that with the deals that came from these bigger companies, 80% of them were at $10,000. And they're trying to basically only take the deals from the big companies. They'll still have to take it from Aspire Sports and all of that, but it's going to be it's going to be scrutinized to a T. So I'm thinking, about 80% of your football team, right, should be at $10,000 or less. And then everybody else could get up to $100,000. That's just pretty much how I base it, just to get like a rough estimate on how much this is going to change for us. So with all that being said, let's bring this back up, right? And now you see where I got that $2.9 million from. So it would be 84 players on Tennessee's football team that would be making 10,000 up to $10,000. I just called it 10,000. And then you got 21 guys that I said would be making 100,000, but it would really only be up to 100,000. That's the way that I took everything. And then that would be a total again of about $3 million. But with the revenue sharing, they're saying about 75% of that $20 million will go to the football team. So that's about $15 million. So, you kind of mix and match and split things up. I've heard coaches saying that for the players that can get the big NIL contracts, which is probably not going to be very many, sounds like, maybe 1% of the players in the whole, not even just with football, but with all sports in the whole country can get deals like that. So that's going to be very, very rare. But they're saying that if you get one of those deals, then you won't get as much revenue sharing so that they can spread things out. But at the end of the day, we all know that if you're one of those top tier players, like a number one quarterback in the whole country, then teams will say, hey, we'll give you some revenue sharing and we'll give you a nice NIL deal, right? So that's pretty much what we're looking at here. But Pete, what are your thoughts with this whole house settlement? And then, of course, I am going to tell y'all what I heard from some of these prospects.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the first thing is how do they really regulate the NIL packages? Or not necessarily the packages. I mean, you can probably pretty easily kind of tell how much a prospect's making. But as far as is it legitimate? Is this guy actually doing his NIL duties, if you will, and not just the pay for play, which I think is really what they're trying to avoid or they're trying to get rid of. I think so. I am curious to see how they're going to actually police that situation. But I think a way I could see teams trying to work around this, because that NIL number is significantly less than what it's been the past few years. I think a way you work around this, like you said, maybe you can get some of those bigger deals but also maybe a kind of a conglomerate, if you will, of different NIL packages per player. Maybe one player can get two or three NIL deals that could help him total up to like a $200,000, $300,000 deal, whatever. So I think that's kind of how you have to try to do it. But something you continue to harp on, which I agree with, is how can you limit what somebody does make, literally like off their name, image, and likeness? Because you look at these social media influencers, things like that, which is really a big marketing trend that's been going on for years now. I mean, who's to say that freaking we'll say what's one of these drinks? I don't know, freaking Gatorade or something isn't gonna hit some stuff on want you to advertise us on your Instagram. Like, you might have 7 or 8, 10 different companies that want to do that. So like, how are you going to limit what these guys are doing or whatever and making? So I think that's the tricky part is how they're going to manage the NIL portion, because I don't think it's going to hold up in court.
Yeah. So you kind of cut out there. So I think that you were basically saying, like, how could they stop like a Gatorade from using these anybody with a big
Yeah.
name on social media and paying them what they want to pay them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page with you. I think that come Monday, we're going to see a lot of lawsuits. I mean, they signed off on it and all that good stuff, but this is not the end of it. I don't know if it's even really going to get implemented this year because there's going to be so much pushback. I did not pee. I really was not thinking I'd see so many people that are pushing back on this because they've for such a long
Mhm.
time. I've heard so many folks, well, the players shouldn't get paid and da 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 da. But I'm happy, I'm thankful that there are more people that understand that hey, this is happening to them, this could happen to you. Like, just think about you working at your job. Let's just call it like you're making $90,000 a year. You signed off on the contract. Well, now all of a sudden, some third party comes in and says, "Nah, this is too much for them. Let's bump that down to really would be like 30,000, right? Like that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about." So I think that it's a major issue. And just as far as what some of the players said, so I got to talk to Ethan Hauser, who's a 2027 safety, plays at Buford at Tennessee. Really likes him. I think that he likes Tennessee too. He's actually probably going to end up growing into a daggum backer. So he plays the same thing in high school that Jaden played, star, which is that safety linebacker hybrid. And he's about Jaden's size already, so he's got great size, moves well. He's an absolute stud. But I asked him about it. He said that he doesn't like it. He said that it's not right that they're trying to cap and limit what his peers and everybody else can make off of their name, image, and likeness. And I also got to talk to DJ Hunter. Some of y'all might know him. He played at Bearden up there in Knoxville. He transferred down to Buford, but really, really good looking quarterback. That's my first time meeting him. Good kid. I got to meet his pops. He's cool as hell. So either way, he hadn't really done as much research on it up to this point. But as we, started to kind of talk about what it meant, I could tell that he felt some type of way about it. I don't know how he felt. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but you can tell that once people recognize exactly what's going to happen with this, and I didn't even break down how much the numbers are going to be dropping for these players. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be major, major pushback. Like we said, man, I mean, you could be like a David Sanders. And I think Tennessee already handled this where they've already front paid everybody's contracts so that they could get all that money. But if you hadn't got all of it, let's just say if David Sanders' contract is $1 million, he's already got $500,000. If any payment after the first of next month that comes in, it's probably not going to fly. So, he came to Tennessee. NIL was a big portion of it. You know what I'm saying? That's a big part of the reason he chose Tennessee. Probably it's not the only, but it's still a big part of it. That's going to be a huge problem. So yes,
Mhm.
this right here, it's definitely got me kind of riled up, but I feel good, Pete, just to know that there's some other people that are going to fight back with it. And I don't even know, like I said, if this is going to get implemented this year, really. If it does, it'll just be like a one and done thing. It's
Yeah.
totally going to get, it's totally going to get changed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't limit what somebody can make off their name, image, and likeness. You just can't do it. You know what I mean? Like you just cannot do it. And I know they're trying to pass exemptions and stuff like that, whatever. But I mean, you just can't do it. You just
Yeah,
can't
and
do it.
I don't even think that that's going to fly. We're going
Now,
to be watching
now,
that. Yeah, go
now,
ahead.
the only thing that they could try to do is if they can find a way to like actually determine if an NIL package, if it's truly if the athlete's fulfilling his responsibilities or whatever with that NIL package, like
Mhm.
I could see them trying to do that, which to me, I mean, yeah, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. If you're trying to say it's not pay for play, whatever,
Mhm.
you truly have to be doing some type of NIL work or whatever. Like if you're an NFL player, you get a Gatorade contract. You're gonna have to do the Gatorade commercials and do your little things. Like they're not just gonna pay you just to pay you. You got to do stuff. I could see them trying to enforce that. I just don't know really how they could do that for every player in the country, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, even with that, that's up to the company that's paying that player. That's not up to a third party, third
That's
party
true.
deal come in here and say, "Oh, wait a second, you can't
That
pay
is
them
very
that
true.
much because they're not doing enough." Like, dog, if
Yeah.
I want to pay somebody $500 million to sit down and tie their shoe, then that's what I want to do. Like, this is an open market
That's very
country.
true.
This is a capitalist country, so you can't be telling me what somebody's worth or what anything's worth that I want to spend my money on. So that, I mean, the whole thing, and even with there will be a hearing coming up. It's not even really like a hearing. It's going to be more like a meeting to try to push forward this bill to give the NCAA and to give college sports this antitrust pass. I don't think that that's going to have real legs. Now they might be able to maybe get the bill to the House floor, but I don't think it's getting past that. So, I just this was the stupidest thing. I'm happy that everybody's seeing it. The dumbest thing that they could have done. And I honestly just kind of hope that the people who came up with this, I mean, I'm to the point. I don't wish jail on nobody, but to me, I feel like they should get criminal charges because that's what they're doing. Like they're coming
Mhm.
together and they're trying to criminally violate people's federal rights. That I have a big problem with that. So either way, we are going to move on. That's just our thoughts, just to kind of clean up what we talked about last night. Obviously, if this thing goes through, it's going to be some major changes in college sports. But I think that probably, come Monday, I think all hell's about to break loose. All right, Pete. Let's go ahead and move on. And let's talk about the safety room, right? So these are the safeties that Coach Banks has brought in since he's been at Tennessee. You can see what their star rating is. Um, some of the players, obviously, he got from the transfer portal, and then you can see what ended up happening to those players. A lot of them end up, transferring out. Now, he did a good job with, guys like Will Brooks, like guys like Tank. Both of those guys, well, Tank is still playing in the league. Will Brooks, what he signed with the Chiefs, right, P? I
I
don't
think
think that
so.
I don't think that he made that team, but at
Mm.
least he got the opportunity. Will Brooks was a walk-on guy, so I think that he can coach. I think that Trayvon Flowers, P, I think he would have had an opportunity to maybe get picked up. I'm not sure if he did or not, but I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that he had a sickness. I know that his senior year he was dealing with a sickness, and then the other players like Wesley Walker probably could have, got picked up by somebody if he would have stuck around. So I think that he
Mhm.
does a good job of coaching. But I mean, like whenever you're looking at this list, P, I'm not taking a shot at nobody, but it's not really high caliber players. I wish I could have put their actual safety ranking. It's all pretty low.
Yeah.
So, and then of course we've got the guys down there at 8 and at 9 that are brand new. But Tim Merritt looks like he's moving the cornerback. But I mean, it's like, what do you think about what we've done as far as bringing in safety talent to this team, Pete?
Yeah, I don't know why we're having such a hard time bringing guys in. I mean, I guess it's on Tim Banks maybe as a recruiter, but I mean, you got to be able to get high caliber guys. Like to me, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to go out and find a good looking safety and put him back there. Like, I mean, go out there and find you a guy who's excuse me, go out there and find a guy who's tall, who's rangy, who's got good size, who's physical, who can cover. I mean,
Yeah.
like go out there and find these guys are walking around all over the place. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Like I feel like I can't even go look at a high school team play without seeing at least one guy say, "Man, look at that kid." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are out there. So why can't we seem to get them? Like you look down this list. I mean, I think John Slaughter probably impressed me the most, just like from his high school film out of some of these guys.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean, like none of these other guys really, really wowed you on their high school film. You know what I'm saying? So like, what is he looking at? Why can't you go out and find better prospects? I think would be the first question. And then why can't you get those guys to come? I mean, he had one on the hook last year in Shady.
All right, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but P, you were just talking about how Coach Banks he's not doing a good job of closing out with these high school safeties.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, he's not, and I don't know why. I mean, I feel like his defenses perform well. I think his
mhm.
safeties play well. He's getting a lot. You see a guy like you talked about, Tank McCullough in the league. He's doing very well in the league. Like he's a good coach. I really think he's a good coach. So why is it he can't close in on some higher caliber prospects? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's definitely one of my questions. I've talked to some prospects, and I mean, honestly speaking, just to keep it real, it sounds like it is Coach Banks. He might not need to be talking to these players. I think that he's a
Wow.
good coach, but I don't know if you really want him out there. Honestly speaking, that's something that I'm sure that the staff knows. I've heard. I'm not gonna say I've heard that kind of rumored. You know what I'm saying? I've heard people hinting to it, and that's what I thought that they were talking about. But now I know for sure because I've heard it from several different prospects that is a bit of a problem. So that's something that he needs to. Yeah, well, Coach Heupel. I mean, he's gonna have to just stop him because we do. Like we need to be able to close in on some safeties. Obviously, having Shady Hayward would have been huge because he would have been probably starting this year, right? So things like that, that's something that definitely needs to get fixed. But P, to your point, to both of our points, he's done a good job of the players that have stuck around. You know what I'm saying? Like the players that have been on this team. So that takes me
Mhm.
to this spot here. This is our entire secondary. P. You see where the safeties are. And I have Tim Merritt over there, but really he's a cornerback. We already talked about it, but I just let them over there because at this point he might have to go back to playing safety. Jordan Thomas, I mean, he's probably not going to be playing for us. You know what I'm saying? I think he's done playing football. Honestly, I hope that that's not true, but that's what we've been hearing. So he's a name that I had to put up there, but you can almost, maybe like kind of skip over that. But then you look over at the cornerbacks. I think we got some good looking bodies there. Star. Then we got some good looking bodies there. There's a whole lot of youth. My biggest question, P, is if you could add a player, because I think, again, taking Tim Merritt off, taking Jordan Thomas off, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. Okay. Only one of them has ever played college. Well, has really played college safety. Ed, he played a little bit for us last year. Caleb Beasley, we got him to play a cornerback. I think that he gets to start. Really good looking player. He's got the size and all that. Sidney Walton is a true freshman. So this is the thinnest that our safety room maybe has ever been, ever, like in the history of Tennessee sport, ever. Super thin, but guys are pretty good. So I'm just saying, I would think that you might want to add two more guys. But what are your thoughts? Like two more guys from corner or from star?
What you're talking about in this 2026 class?
I'm
Or
saying
just
from this team, what you're seeing here from our
mm,
secondary, I feel like we need to add two more players to the safety room so that we
yeah.
have depth.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely get 2 safeties, because I mean, we just don't have any guys. Now, if you go back and look at Heupel and Banks since they've been here, 2021, 2022, especially, maybe even 2023 as well. Like when we played 2 safeties the entire time. Like we didn't even rotate. We start rotating more, I think, in 23 and last year we rotated guys more. So
Mhm.
I think they want to be able to do that. But I mean, this staff has shown if we got 2 guys we can trust, we will roll with those 2 guys 100% of the snaps. Like they know
Yep.
literally do that. So, you know, you don't want to live that way, especially not by necessity. You would like to be able to rotate guys. But I think if turn time can just be a solid staple, can stay healthy, knock on wood for us,
Mhm.
then it's really just that other spot. I think Farouk and Beasley are both capable guys. I think Sidney Walton's capable, but he's a freshman. But yeah, I mean, we definitely need to add. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a
I mean,
prime
who would you
spot
want
to
to
add
add?
some five stars, huh?
I'm saying like who would you want to add from one of these other rooms, like from cornerback or from
Oh,
star?
okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think honestly, and people are gonna say you're absolutely crazy, but I think
Mhm.
what would give us the highest ceiling would
Mhm.
be potentially moving Boo Carter to safety. I think if he goes to safety,
Boy.
I'm telling you, I know it, I know it, I know it, I know it, I know it. But because we have a guy like Jalen McMurray, who I think could play star, we got Caleb Beasley, who I think will play star. I think that like if you look at Boo Carter, we'll say he's like a 95 at star. If
Mhm.
he goes to safety, he's probably like a 93. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But you bring in one of those other guys, they could bump in there and be like like a 85, like a mid 80. But if you keep Beasley at safety, maybe he's like an 80, like an 83 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think we would have the better 11 on the field if Boo goes to star and one of those other guys moved in to Boo goes to safety
Mhm.
and you move one of those other guys to star. I think that'll give you your best 11 is what I'm trying to say.
I see what you're saying. The only thing for me with that is that Boo is trying to play offense too. So I think that
Mhm.
that might kind of take away depth in a weird sort of a way because one of your starting safeties is a part-time guy. So now you still have to kind of go to whoever the
That's true.
backup is still gonna have to be really, really good. And I understand what your point is because Boo could definitely play safety at a high level. I think he'd be the best safety on this whole team. But if it's me, I would say you see what Marcus Gorey can give you because I like him playing at safety. I'm looking at William Wright just based off of his size. He's close to 200 pounds and he's very, very physical. I think that you could put him back there too to be more of like your, kind of like box safety, just for some extra depth. But obviously, with the guys that are playing at corner, playing at star, some of the guys playing at safety too, you can move them around in different spots, and that should be able to help us out some. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I'm thinking that Dylan Lewis. I think that Trey could play at star. I think that they could do a pretty good job. Like you said with J Mac, maybe you could move him to be the second star, right? So
Mhm.
really like looking at the corners, I think that we look good there. What about a Tyler Redmond? You know what I'm saying? You bring him on
Yeah.
over at 6'2". He's a buck 90. he could probably get up to about 200 pounds. Do you think that he would be, and he will tackle, he is physical, but do you think that he's the type of physical that you want playing at safety?
Well, he's a guy. I think when we had him on the show, I was telling him, "Hey, listen,
Hmm.
see if you can play a little safety because that's where, in my opinion, I feel like the game's going and where it's kind
Hmm.
of already at. Go get you a big, long rangey guy who's willing to tackle. You don't have to be, Mr. Sean Taylor back there. But
Hmm.
this big guy, hey, I can get a guy down. I can take on a block, or I can rip under a block, whatever.
Hmm.
But I can cover and I can come. And I can do it all. I think guys like that they have a lot of value at safety. So I could definitely see him, especially if he puts on what is he 6'2", 190.
Yep.
Heck, he puts on about 10 to 15 pounds. Put him up to 6'2", like 207.
Hmm.
I mean, dude,
Hmm.
this guy's all world. So yeah, I could definitely see him doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So, and that's an interesting point too. I think that because of how our secondary is built, where it's a lot more cover guys. Like I feel like everybody can cover inside of our secondary. There's really nobody that you look at and say, "Man, I'm super worried about them in coverage." I think that
Mhm,
maybe Tennessee could do a little bit more zero P. You might see more, which we ran a lot of man last year. It was a lot of one high. So man, cover three. There was a lot of that. Obviously, quarters coverage. Some of the stuff that everybody does. But I think that we might take another step forward with running more man-to-man stuff, more zero, more blitzing. We've got a ton of speed. I think that our linebackers could look pretty good in coverage too. And
hey, you know what?
we could mix up everything.
Hey, so something you made me think about is, you know, what if in our star package,
Hmm.
Boo's at star, obviously, and maybe
Hmm.
Redmond's your safety, Turntime's your safety. But if it's a situation we think they're gonna run it, we go to a daggone like a 4-3 or a 3-4, whatever. Boo goes back to safety. Now you got safety
Mm.
and Turntime at safety. You know what I'm saying? You can get a little creative that
Mm.
way and keep your
Mm.
best 11 on the field at all times.
I love that idea because I do think that Tennessee's got some really, really good safeties. Linebackers. We talked about that pretty
Mhm,
much this whole week. We've been talking about linebackers going through breaking down film. Now they made a lot of errors last season, but I feel like they're learning from that. And yeah, I think that that's obviously, man, linebacker is one of the deepest spots on this team. I think physically,
mhm,
so that could be. You know what I'm saying? If we go four
mhm.
three or 3-4, you know what I'm saying? Either way. I think that that would be deadly, especially, I mean, which is crazy to say, but think about running that on like a 3rd and 5. You know what I'm saying? Like a 3rd and medium. Where hey, we can stop the run here, but by gosh, we can cover the daggone pass too. We're gonna get
Mhm.
after you. We're gonna, which Tennessee actually did a pretty good amount of that last season on some of those 3rd and short, 3rd and medium types of
Yeah.
situations. So that could be maybe you play more to your strengths, which would be linebacker as far as the depth over safety. But man,
Mhm.
I wish we still had freaking John Slaughter. He looks
I
good
know.
there, doesn't he?
He does, he sure
Golly, man.
does. Same with Jacoby. Jacoby too.
Yeah, man. Kobe, freaking Christian Charles. He made
I
some he
know,
made some nice plays for us last
man.
year. I mean, it's tough. I don't understand why the staff didn't just break down and pay one of those guys. Like you can't let all three of them leave. You know what I mean? And then not go add somebody else. That's the part that's
Mm.
mind blowing to me. But I'm sure that they have some type of a plan. But overall, P, would you say that maybe that's the weakest spot? And I'm not trying to like push you to saying it, but do you think that maybe that's the weakest spot on this whole team, or is it
Oh,
something else?
yeah. I would say by far. Just because I mean, heck, we got one guy that's played, really. I mean, Farouk's played a little bit, but yeah, I'll say by far the weakest spot. Like not even close, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, and it's that's a critical place to maybe think is a weakness. But again, I have a lot of confidence with our top three.
Yeah, definitely.
So Ed, Andre, and Caleb. I think that those guys are
Mhm.
going to be good. I think it's going to be Andre and Caleb starting. I really think that Caleb Beasley is going to work into
My
one of
guy.
the better safeties that we've had in a while. I really, really
Yeah.
do. I think
Hey,
he's got
he's
everything.
got he's got Minka Fitzpatrick written all over him.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he though?
Written all over him. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and he
So
was he
he's
was the first rounder if you didn't know.
Yeah,
So
uh-huh. He definitely has a whole lot of that to his skill set. So
mhm.
with all that being said, y'all, we have to go on ahead and get ready for this big time baseball game coming up tonight. And I might come back and do post game with y'all. Hopefully things do go well. But thank you as always for joining us. A little bit of optimism, hopefully, for y'all to kind of finish things off. Then we do have some talent. Both of us think that we just gotta find that depth, and that's something that we won't know exactly how it looks until we get closer to season, closer to fall camp and things like that. But as always, y'all, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.